Okay,
So
just
evidence
spanning the
that-
crowd. 1,
Real
2,
proof.
3. Grandma and Grandpa, 4, 5, and 6.
All right, so my name is Dane Beaver, and I'm doing an informative speech on bowling. So I remember the first time that I considered joining the bowling team, and I had a group of older friends who I knew, and they were on the Honeymoon bowling team, and so they ended up talking me into doing it. But the first couple of practices for me were miserable, as almost every shot that I threw went into the gutter, and I was so embarrassed by how I played that I basically didn't want to even show back up to practice. But my friends ended up convincing me to come back in the end, and I ended up going and watching the varsity bowlers at practice and talking with my coaches, which helped me a lot. And by the end of the year, I was a much better bowler than I was at the beginning, and I felt comfortable and confident bowling in front of other people. And bowling is a sport that everyone at all ages can enjoy. It's inexpensive, and it can be played at any time and any time of the year. For me, one of my favorite aspects of bowling is the social aspect. On the website Medicare for Living, a website focused on giving medical advice, wrote on April 15th, 2021, that bowling can be incredibly relaxing or a fun hobby, especially if you're spending that time with friends or family. And if you're feeling stressed, bowling gives you a fun night out to relieve some of that stress. And when you're playing on teams or a free-for-all, and it's just not the same as bowling by yourself. So bowling with other people is very important. And unlike other sports, bowling is really easy to pick up, and anyone at any age is more than capable of completing the sport. And having been a new player myself, I am absolutely confident that anyone can pick this up and get good at it as well. Young, old, and anyone in between can play. And one of the biggest things that makes it so easy is that it's not physically or mentally challenging. Being one of the few sports you can play throughout your life is pretty much bowling. Bowling is a low-impact sport, so it's perfect for all ages. For example, younger kids who might go bowling use the roller, where it's like basically a ramp and it sends the bowling ball down the lane. And then there's also the bumper guards too that people can use if you're not as good at bowling. But basically, Bowling Overhaul published an article titled "Seniors in Bowling, Is It Good for the Body?" And in the article it says, bowling is an excellent way to keep your heart rate up and keep your arms and legs moving in a demanding way, and you should move and get your blood circulating as well when you get older, and it helps with your agility and your balance as well. Once again, bowling is really just super accessible for everybody to do at all ages. Basically, one of my favorite aspects is that bowling is very inexpensive. And according to this article written on March 14th in 2022 on skilledbowlers.com, the average game of bowling costs from about $2 to $5, and if you need to rent shoes, it usually ranges from about $3 to $6 as well. And if you start getting more into bowling and you want to purchase your own gear, it's again very inexpensive. According to an article published on April 23rd, 2021 on bowlingiseasy.com, there are lots of different balls and different equipment you can use in general, but bowling balls usually range between $50 and $200. And beginnerbowlingtips.com published an article on February 3rd, 2021, and it's common for a pair of rental shoes to cost about $4, like I mentioned before. And there's a wide variety of bowling shoes that you can get, including the popular BSI 540 white and black, which just costs under $24. So when you think about it, if you're planning on going more than 6 times a year, it's worth buying shoes, as you'll be spending less money on renting them. And then I was gonna show my kit here. So I, obviously, like I said, I have my bowling shoes, and these, my coach had a connection with Dexter, so he got a deal on these, and I got these for about $40. I've been using these for a really long time, and they still look really good, and I enjoy them, and they do their job. And then I have my whole bowling bag here. So this is my whole setup. The shoes come in here too, and this entire thing I take around to each bowling alley and to practices. And of course, the most important part is the bowling ball. So I have a 12-pound bowling ball, and this one I was actually really lucky because it got provided to me by the team for free. So I've used this one, and it works perfectly fine, even though it's an older ball, but yeah, relatively inexpensive. So that's my whole kit, and again, this is where I can take it to any bowling alley that I want to go to or any practice. And the third most important point about bowling is that it can be played anywhere and anytime throughout the year. And so it can be played in summer, fall, spring, winter. You don't have to depend on the weather for you to play it, unlike golf or tennis, where during the summertime, golf is, that's when you can only play the sport because it's when it's the warmest down. You can't play in the winter. And again, with rain, shine, thunderstorm, you can play in any kind of weather condition as well. But in conclusion, I hope you've learned a lot about bowling and what goes into it, and about how it's relatively easy to pick up and it's good for all ages to participate. It's very affordable, and it's also not dependent on the weather or location that you're at. And being on the team really helped shape my experience into becoming a better bowler, in that it's definitely gotten my interest in bowling and piqued my interest, and it's made me a lot of a better bowler. So I would recommend just to go and do what you want and experience it and have fun.